Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Waterspirit's Spring Equinox Celebration. To those of you who might be here for the first time, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Blair Nelson. I'm Executive Director of Waterspirit. And Waterspirit is a nonprofit center for spiritual ecology sponsored by the Sisters of St. Joseph of Peace. If you'd like to know more about our programs and advocacy efforts, please take a look at www.waterspirit.org. You'll find out all kinds of information about our upcoming events and more. Waterspirit is headquartered in Rumson, New Jersey. Rumson, New Jersey is on unceded occupied Lenni Lenape land on the peninsula that they named Narumsunk. We honor the Lenape peoples in Lenape-Hoking and throughout the diaspora and pledge our commitment to right our relationships with this land and these waters. Now, the spring equinox this year is particularly moving for me because on my last day, actually in our offices inside the First Presbyterian Church of Rumson, one of the things that Abby, our program manager, and I were doing were running around trying to film the spring equinox so we would have something ready to go so that the Waterspirit community could mark this season, even though we wouldn't be gathering together in the same physical space. And since then, all of our activities have been online. So I am so moved to be back here a year later, celebrating the spring equinox with you all after everything that we've gone through together. And I'm delighted to be joined by the ever-growing Waterspirit family. I know that tonight we have our public policy and justice organizer, Rachel, participating in the ceremony. We've got our new development coordinator, Sarah Thoma, in the audience. We've got a number of board members and familiar faces as well. So big welcome to all the people that I know and all the people that I am going to have the pleasure to get to know better as we move forward. Oh, I invite you all to take whatever you might be feeling about this year that we've gone through together. So unusual, so strange, so, at times so hard to carry. And to breathe into it, to release it tonight as we sit together, and to breathe into the promise of new beginning and the hope of new beginning, which is what the spring is all about. And with that, we will begin our virtual celebration of spring. There is beauty in the potential of what can be when we allow ourselves to have hope for the future. On the vernal equinox, day equals night, and the season of spring starts in earnest. Now the seeds in the ground have the courage to spring forth. Now the birds lay and hatch eggs, and the animals give birth. We have come out of the quiet slumber of winter, the intensity of gales that forced us inside, and we too are born again to the world. We can go outside and celebrate new beginnings and the first promise of spring. I now have the pleasure of inviting our board member, Reverend Sue Smith, to the Zoom room to read our opening prayer.
As we mark this time of equinox, may we find the balance we desire and need in our lives, light and dark, spirit and body, mind and soul. At the spring equinox, may we recognize the promise of rebirth, both within and all around us. As we mark the equinox in the Northern Hemisphere, let us wonder at the mystery that is life and open ourselves to the blessings of both dark and light. Amen.
Thank you, Sue. Spring is an intoxicating time of year, full of passionate birdsong and bold color. With the coming of the sun, the grasses grow before our very eyes. Everything starts living out loud. Allow the vibrancy of all life around you to fuel your enthusiasm.
Now is the time for planting the seeds of hopes and dreams and allowing them to be activated by divine forces. It's a good time to think about what you would like to allow into your life that you haven't had room for before. If you have been cultivating a way of life for a number of years, now is the time to add new shoots and branches to your tree, as well as blossom out with willingness to express your truth. The soil is cleared away by the freeze and moist from the melt. There is plenty of open space to create a fresh way of being in the world. Be inspired and spring forth.
We would now like to welcome our musical guest, Phil Weir, to perform his first song.
Thanks, just unmuting. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. First tune I'm going to play is an Irish tune, Slieve na Ban, which means Women of the Mountain. I'm going to follow it by a short jig called Sport. It's a slow air into a jig.
Yay, wonderful. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Oh, may your music lead us into deeper and deeper reflection. O Spirit, at this time, we are called more than ever into connection with your loving presence. We look to our natural world during this equinox to inspire balance, illustrated for us in the nearly equal length of night and day. May we honor the light and the dark. May we balance the seriousness of our world with gentle humor and grace.
We release fear and anxiety, returning to neutral acceptance of those circumstances that are out of our control. May we hold with right responsibility all we can influence and take right action in those arenas. We respect and honor our concerns and help each other as best we can. By holding ourselves and others with tenderness, we cultivate inner peace and centeredness.
May we hold with gratitude the gifts of a crisis, increased connection and communication, an outward expansion of our sphere of caring. May our vision of the moment and the future be seen through the wisdom of the divine. Blessings to us all. May we stand grounded in the beauty of spring, in love, generosity, and compassion.
The seasons turn and return, an ode to resurrection, not of mankind, but of a whole world and all the life born by it. We are whirling ceaselessly, taking on the colors and clothes of these seasonal shifting. And when we adapt to and appreciate this diverse dance, our lives are aligned and tethered to the robust joys of constant transformation, change, and reveal.
Spring is, after all, the growing season, and as many of us vie to remedy the wound of separateness we have made between ourselves and the nature of Earth, connecting to seasonal rhythms offers powerful medicine.
This practice entices us to pay closer attention to the natural world and observe how change is flowing through the trees, the plants and vegetation, the animals and the weather. When we do so at the turning points of the seasons, we are welcomed into the marvel of witnessing the shifting gears of Mother Earth's seasonal processions. It's a seasonal change, one that we are invited to join. Spring is a wizard of a thing. Think of it. It is the rebirth after the slow and painful dying of winter. A fragrant kiss by the warm wind blossoms the trees. It ignites the flowers and plants, churning the growing that will feed our bellies with sumptuous nutrition and our eyes with hearty beauty that will set our souls alight. At this time, we welcome Phil back to grace us with his musical talents once again.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Hopefully I'm muted. Yeah. I'm going to continue the mountain theme. I'm going to play a couple other Irish tunes. The first one's a slow reel called The Green Mountain, and then a reel called The Reel of Mullinvaget after that. So it's just two short slow reels.
Thank you so much, Phil. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
The growing season is foremost about planting. In terms of our inner world, the activity presents itself in this fashion. What do we wish to plant in our lives this year? What visions do we hope to manifest? At this time, we invite you to contemplate these questions. If you feel called to do so, please unmute your microphone and share your inspiration with us.
I'd like to plant a deeper connection with a lot of the to others, even a lot of relationships that I have, even in my family, that I take for granted.
Thank you, Lisa.
This whole process of creating what we dream is one of the most joyous activities we are afforded as human beings, and complete with priceless wisdom learned from inevitable adversities faced on the creative journey.
As the earth turns and dances in its cosmic wanderings, the seasons change and nature offers itself as medium to express these flux and flows. Humanity is invited to journey in these naturally diverse adventures.
The growing glow of spring leads naturally to the fervent passion of summer, where our visions find most strident expression and the abundant vitality to flower in fullness. Autumn finds us harvesting the fruits of our endeavors, and in winter, we rest to restore ourselves for more adventures come another round.
Rest in the arms of the earth, who changes and churns only to play with you. Feel her cackling your frustrations and blockades, teasing and inviting you to take new shapes at every turn, never leaving you alone. Never. Even in your aloneness, you are in her arms of infinite mercy and continual mirth. Let your heart meet hers and forget all trouble.
And let your seeds be planted in community gardens, both outside and in. Create dreams that fill you with limber light and also the lives of others. More so this year than any other, consider all the people in your life with loving sentiments, wishing them the same generous creativity and happiness.
We invite you now to ground your spirit in the rhythms of nature as we share this blessing for water by the author Starhawk. Praise and gratitude to the sacred waters of the world, to the oceans, the mother of life, the womb of the plant life that freshens our air with oxygen, the brew that is stirred by sunlight and the moon's gravity into the great currents and tides that move across the earth, circulating the means of life, bringing warmth to the frozen Arctic and cool, fresh winds to the tropics.
We give thanks for the blessed clouds and the rain that brings the gift of life to the land, that eases the thirst of roots, that grows the trees and sustains life even in the dry desert. We give thanks for the spring that brings life-giving water up from the ground, for the small streams and creeks, for the mighty rivers. We praise the beauty of water, the sparkle of the sunlight on a blue lake, the shimmer of moonlight on the ocean's waves, the white spray of the waterfall. We take delight in the sweet singing of the dancing stream and the roar of the river in the flood.
We ask help to know within ourselves all the powers of water, to wear down and to build up, to ebb and to flow, to nurture and to destroy, to merge and to separate. We know that water has great powers of healing and cleansing, and we also know that water is vulnerable to contamination and pollution. We ask help in our work as healers, in our efforts to ensure that the waters of the world run clean and run free, that all the earth's children have the water they need to sustain abundance of life. Blessed be the water.
Amen. When we take the time to truly honor ourselves as creators of not just our world, but the world, we take initial steps on the heroic journey of self-realization, igniting a whole new spectrum of powers and virtues that will keep us happily engaged with new purpose. Life will never be the same. Together, let us use this time to renew relationships with self, earth, and spirit. If you have a candle at the ready, we invite you to light it at this time. In the name of all gathered here, we take the pledge of recommitment to connect with the earth.
We will do our best to care for the earth as the earth cares for us, protect the earth and its community from harm, and preserve the earth so that future generations will have the healthy food, air, water, and soil they need to live full lives.
We will do our best to do what we can to overcome the forces that keep members of the Earth community poor, oppressed, and excluded.
We will do our best to support ways of improving life and ensuring a better future for all by doing what we can to live in a sustainable way.
We will do our best to appreciate the life-giving gift of water that is necessary in sustaining all life, and work to preserve and conserve water.
On a personal level, spring is a time of balance and harmony, of union between the physical and spiritual, which can be harnessed to anchor your dreams in reality and enhance your own inner harmony as the balance of universal energies is reflected within.
We now invite Kate Chambers to read our closing prayer from John O'Donohue to bless the space between us.
On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the crush of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Amen.
Amen. What do we wish to plant in our lives this year? What visions do we hope to manifest? May you carry these questions with you and reflect on them in the days ahead. And with that, our time together has come to a close. Thank you for joining us for our virtual Spring Equinox celebration. And on behalf of the Waterspirit team, I want to wish you all of the beauty and the blessings of spring. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Happy Equinox.